On Libya's flood watch, number of death toll rises with more missing. Driver killed after car rammed into a tree in Kuching. And police probing KANOWIT riot. Those are the headlines for tonight. You're now with me, Shalshmato, and this is TVS Nightline. More than 5,000 people died and at least 10,000 others were feared missing as 20,000 people have been displaced due to Storm Daniel that swept through the Mediterranean. Local media reported that the worst affected city is Derna, where the death toll alone has reached 2,300 people after major floods were triggered by two dam collapse. The United Nations in Libya has deployed their emergency teams, have been mobilized on the ground to aid the country. Turkey and other countries such as Germany, Romania and Finland have rushed aid to Libya, including search and rescue vehicles, rescue boats, generators and food via the EU Civil Protection Mechanism. For the next 24 hours, it is forecasted that drier conditions will set across the whole of Libya. A 22-year-old driver lost his life when his vehicle collided with an ornamental tree in Tawanarru, Kuching early today. According to the Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department or Bomba spokesperson, they received a distress call from members of the public at approximately 9:15 a.m. A team from the Tabanjaya Fire Station, led by Senior Officer Chaplain 1, arrived at the scene and swiftly conducted the rescue works. Shortly after, the firefighters successfully extracted the victim pinned in the driver's seat. The victim was pronounced dead by medical officers at the scene. His body was then taken to the Sarawak General Hospital morgue for post-mortem. Police are currently investigating a riot incident that occurred behind the KANOWIT district office on Tuesday, September 12, resulting in injuries and property damage. Sarawak Police Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Asman Ahmad Sapi said a police report on the riot was lodged on the same day. Following the incident, he revealed that efforts are underway to locate the individuals responsible. The cause of the riot is currently under investigation.
A video showing a group of men attacking an unarmed man in the car park behind the KANOWIT district office went viral on social media and came to the attention of law enforcement at 1:30 p.m. Two individuals sustained injuries and their vehicles were also damaged during the incident. Muhammad Asman advised the public not to act recklessly by breaking the law. At the same time, he urged the public to cooperate by sharing any relevant information about the incident through the contact numbers displayed on the screen. The case is being investigated under Section 148 of the Penal Code, which pertains to rioting and carries the potential for a prison sentence of up to 5 years, a fine, or both upon conviction.
The Telok Melano Mosque was named after the young Diputan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyaduddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah. The earth-breaking ceremony for the Masjid Al-Sultan Abdullah was officiated by His Majesty after arriving at Telok Melano earlier today. The project, with a budget exceeding 5 million ringgit, is slated for completion by the end of 2024. This mosque will have the capacity to accommodate approximately 500 worshippers at once.
Inspired by the architectural style of historic Malay mosques, this 540 square meter mosque is poised to become not only a place of worship for the local community but also a tourist attraction, complementing Telok Melano's tourism appeal. Meanwhile, Kilometer Zero of Telok Melano of the Pan-Borneo Highway marked the final stop of His Majesty's entourage, concluding their 11-day Kenali Borneo expedition. Situated approximately approximately 33 kilometers from Sematan town, the Teluk Melano Sematan stretch is the first section of the Pan-Borneo Highway in Sarawak that was prepared and opened to the public in January 2019. Accompanying His Majesty on the 1,166-kilometer journey for the Kenali Borneo expedition in Sarawak were Pahang Region Tengku Hassan Al-Ibrahim Alam, Shah Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah, Colonel Tengku Amir Nasir Ibrahim Shah, and Tengku Ahmad Ismail Muazzam Shah.
What began as an eventful day took an unexpected turn for Nasi Gulai seller Muhammad Hamidi Fikri Amran. Little did he anticipate that his simple act of generosity towards the young Diputan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah would transform into a social media sensation, ultimately boosting his sales on Nana Street in Sarikei. The 31-year-old entrepreneur, along with his friend, has set up their stall in Jakarta, completely unaware of the surprise that awaited them. Coincidentally, their stall attracted a growing crowd, with each individual eagerly anticipating the arrival of the young Diputan Agong.
Tak ada niat pun nak bagi dekat Tengku ataupun kerabat diraja lah, tapi sebab masa tu berdagang, kita fikir macam nak berniaga sahaja. Tapi kebetulan masa tu kawan saya lah cakap, pergi bagi dekat ni, cubalah, kita nak cubalah tengok. Kot-kot lah, mana tahu ada rezeki dia nak makan kan. Tapi tak sangka lah dia minta lagi dekat kita kan. Dia cakap satu je ke, dia cakap kan. Tu ya. Tapi saya tak expect lah, saya ingat niat memang nak bagi je lah.
While expressing his joy, Hamidi told TVS that the royal entourage's decision to enjoy his dish was a moment of delight for him. He and his friend Muhammad Aziz Ahmad were deeply moved when the son of His Majesty Al-Sultan Abdullah shared the meal by the roadside, and it went viral on social media.
Lah masa tu. Tapi masa tu tak expect lah yang dia makan. Saya fikir macam dia ambil, mungkin dia bagi dekat bodyguard dia ke kan. Tapi bila dia makan tu, bila dia hantar gambar, dia cakap dia makan apa semua kan. Cakap memang terharu lah kita orang, cakap tak sia-sia lah kita orang tunggu kan.
Young Diputan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah has set a remarkable example as a head of the nation and head of the royal family by graciously engaging with the people of Sarawak throughout the Kenali Borneo expedition. According to Sarawak's Deputy Premier Dr. Sri Dr. Sim Hui Hian, Seri Paduka Baginda's presence alongside members of the royal family as they connected with the people of Sarawak serves as a shining example for other leaders. Dr. Sim further reiterated that despite the exhaustion from traversing the Pan-Borneo Highway for 11 days, His Majesty continues to wear a warm smile while engaging with Sarawakians.
That's very inspiring as a parenthood, yeah. And that's all. It shows that he not only jiwa rakyat, but also great examples for as a parents, you know. They can always tell the children, oh, you just stay in the palace, you know, don't have to follow us, you know. And they also understand that children are all quite big and still follow.
He told this to reporters after attending the ceremony for the presentation of a replica of a donation check from the Rotary Club Urban Kuching RCUK and Latter-day Saint Charities LDSC at the Camp Science building in Kuching on Wednesday.
Sarawak still lacks a specific institution dedicated to preserving and conserving the history and heritage of Borneo, propelling the need for a specific institution. Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department of Law, MA63 and State Federal Relations, Dr. Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali said this can be enhanced with the expansion of the Sarawak Museum Department's role in supporting the establishment.
Our history in Sarawak is indeed very rich and amazing sebenarnya, ya. Walau bagaimanapun saya melihat bahawa Sarawak masih belum memiliki satu institusi khusus dalam memelihara dan memelihara sejarah dan warisan di Borneo.
She told reporters this in her speech representing the Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, after officiating the International Conference on Sarawak History, organised by Sarawak Malay Graduates Association (SMGA) on Wednesday. Sida also opined that a more comprehensive study on the history of Sarawak needs to be executed in the efforts to retrieve significant historical documents.
Oleh yang demikian, saya mengharapkan agar kajian yang mendalam perlu diadakan bagi meninjau persejarahan Sarawak sejak era tersebut, dan seterusnya kita cuba mendapatkan dokumen-dokumen yang menyokong kepada sejarah tersebut yang kini masih banyak terdapat di luar-luar negara. Ini perlu kita dapat dan kembalikan, dan kita buat archive untuk dokumen-dokumen seperti ini.
Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department of Law, MA63 and State Federal Relations, Dato' Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali, advocates for the inclusion of significant events related to the 1963 Malaysia Agreement MA63 in the national curriculum. She highlighted that Sarawak's history has been historically underrepresented in national learning syllabus, with its inclusion only beginning in 1982. It was not until the curriculum overhaul in 2014 and 2017 that the Ministry of Education Malaysia involved history experts from Sarawak in formulating the national history curriculum. She emphasized that this step is essential to ensure that the curriculum aligns with Sarawak's historical context.
Sejarah Sarawak menjadi satu elemen utama dalam pembinaan kurikulum sejarah sekolah. Malah Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia mengambil, alhamdulillah mengambil inisiatif dengan menjemput pakar-pakar sejarah tempatan anak Sarawak sebagai pakar rujuk dalam sama-sama mengubal kurikulum sejarah kebangsaan bagi memastikan apa yang terkandung di dalam sukatan pelajaran selari dengan persejarahan Sarawak. Saya harap MA 63 dapat dimasukkan juga dalam kurikulum pendidikan Malaysia. Saya rasa belum, saya harap dapat dimasukkan juga
Coming up right after the break, Selangor tops domestic violence cases and extraterrestrial remains presented in Mexico. Right here in TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Selangor has recorded the highest number of domestic violence cases in the country since 2017, said State Police Chief Dr. Hussein Omar Khan. He said Selangor has become the state with the highest number of such cases over the past 3 years compared to other states, while for the period from January to August this year alone, 813 cases were reported. The first 8 months of this year, the districts that recorded the highest number of cases were Gombak with 147, Kajang 91 and Petaling Jaya 79, whereas the districts that recorded the lowest cases were Shah Alam with 21, Sabah Bernam 25 and Sungai Buloh 26. Hussein said wives were often the victims in these cases, followed by children and husbands apart from other victims such as ex-husbands, ex-wives, other wives, daughters-in-law, as well as sons-in-law and cousins. Meanwhile, the police viewed such cases of domestic violence seriously, and the community should change the notion of the Malay proverb, tidak menjaga tepi kain orang, considering such cases can cause harm and even lead to death if allowed to drag on. Malaysia will take a tougher stance to recover from funds from Goldman Sachs. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he will do all it takes to recover One Malaysia Development Berhad's 1MDB funds, as he stressed that the government wants to return back the funds to the people for their education, public health and basic amenities. Anwar said there is no time frame to get the funds back, as the scandal has been going on for many years. He also added that the investment community was aware how the scandal has caused the Malaysian economy to suffer, adding that the scandal would not have happened without the complicity of international financial institutions, particularly Goldman Sachs. On to the next highlight. Sarawakans are encouraged to visit Kelantan, especially during Ramadan. AirAsia head of Sarawak Affairs pointed out that Kelantan, known as the gateway to Peninsular Malaysia's east coast, recognized as the corridor to Mecca, offers a multitude of religious activities and a vibrant shopping scene.
Bulan puasa, Kelantan is a shopping heaven untuk siapa-siapa yang datang shopping lah, beli tudung, beli baju untuk raya. Dan juga tak lupa Kelantan adalah serambi Mekah. Betul. So peluang untuk melakukan ibadat yang banyak tempat yang majlis-majlis agama dianjurkan di sini. So
he said this during a dinner hosted in conjunction with Tourism Malaysia Sarawak's familiarization trip in Kota Baru, Kelantan on Tuesday. Hamdan added Kelantan shares many similar tourism products to Sarawak, such as food, ecotourism and heritage, and Hamdan also urged Sarawakians to visit Kelantan and vice versa at other times of the year.
Tapi apa salahnya kita venture pergi Kelantan, pergi ni untuk orang Sarawak lah. Dan orang Kelantan sama-sama datang ke Sarawak untuk mengalami sendiri pengalaman di Sarawak, merasai what Sarawak has to offer.
Hamdan noted that AirAsia is looking to improve the visitor numbers travelling between Kelantan and Sarawak through strategic partnerships with tourism players.
Unik yang cuma Asia yang ada buat. Kita dah mulakan perkhidmatan laluan Kuching ke Kota Baru ni bermula tahun 2013. Of course kita berhenti masa COVID, but after COVID kita terus mulakan semula laluan Kota Baru. Sangat penting bagi Sarawak, orang Sarawak untuk ke Kelantan dan juga orang Kelantan ke Kuching, ke Sarawak. Saya rasa agak memberansangkan, agak bermusim juga. So kita perlu kerja lebih keras lah macam ni untuk kedua belah pihak untuk lebih mempromosikan produk kita masing-masing. Di Sarawak promosikan di Kelantan dan Kelantan promosikan juga di Sarawak.
Looking ahead, Hamdan anticipates that the Kuching Marathon, Borneo Sonic Music Festival and other events such as regatta and dragon boat races in October to have a substantial impact on increasing the influx of visitors to Sarawak.
Thank you for staying with me. The High Court of Australia on September 13th dismissed Qantas' appeal against a ruling that found the airline in breach of law by firing nearly 1,700 ground handlers during the pandemic. This decision has sparked public fury towards the flagship carrier that culminated in the early retirement of its long-serving CEO this month following an antitrust lawsuit accusing the airline of selling tickets to thousands of flights after they were cancelled.
Meanwhile, it was reported that Qantas's actions were allegedly motivated to prevent the employees in question from engaging in industrial activity. The flagship carrier, which had run billions of dollars in losses owing to the pandemic, claimed to have retrenched workers to save costs and cancel out any extraneous spending.
Today, 1,700 Qantas families have had a massive victory in the highest court in the land. The court has dismissed unanimously Qantas's appeal. It now stands their actions against these Qantas families as the largest sacking in Australian corporate history that has been found to be illegal. There are serious consequences that should flow from this. Richard Goyder and the board should go.
Absolutely.
Richard Goyder and the board have been complicit in this illegal sacking of 1,700 workers.
Last month, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission sued Qantas on August 31st for breaching consumer law with the sale of tickets to some 8,000 flights after they were cancelled in mid-2022. The company has also been accused of pressuring the federal government successfully to deny a Qatar Airways request to sell more flights to Australia, removing competition that might have lowered fares. Qantas has declined to comment on its lobbying, and its shares have fallen nearly 17% since July 24th amid intense scrutiny of its reputation. Meanwhile, Qantas said in a statement that it accepted the High Court decision and noted the federal court had already ruled out forcing the company to reinstate the workers. Adding further, it said it had already made an unspecified provision in its accounts for penalties and compensation for affected employees after the federal court decision.
The remains of alleged non-human beings were presented at Mexico's first public congressional hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UFOs. One Mexican journalist and researcher on the topic, Jamie Mawson, said it was a clear demonstration of non-human specimens and could prove the DNA findings.
La primera vez que se presenta de tal forma. Y creo que hay una demostración clara de que nos encontramos ante ejemplares no humanos que no tienen relación con ninguna otra especie en nuestro mundo y que se encuentran abiertas todas las posibilidades para que cualquier institución científica los pueda investigar.
The two stuffed mummies were recovered in Peru 2017, and both were 700 and 1,800 years old, with 3 fingers on each hand and elongated heads. The congressional hearing aimed to rule on the phenomenon in the Aerial Space Protection Law, which would turn Mexico into the first country in the world to acknowledge the presence of aliens on the planet.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin that Russia was fighting a sacred war with the West and that North Korea would fight together to battle with imperialism. Kim said it was an unwavering position of the North to develop its traditional friendship and ties with Russia.
그런 패권주의 세력에 맞서서 자기 주권적 권리와 또 안전 이익과 이걸 수호하기 위해서 정의의 위협을 벌이고 있는데 우리는 시정일관 러시아 정부 그 당시께서 취하시는 모든 조치에 전적인 무조건적인 지지를 표명해 왔고 앞으로도 언제나 반대사주 전선에서 언제나 러시아와 함께 있을 것임을 다시 이 기회를 빌어서 확언하는 바입니다.
The summit between the leaders of the two countries, which have become increasingly isolated globally, is being watched closely by Washington and its allies, who worries that they could agree to exchange arms and defense technology. As of now, mainly US and South Korean officials have expressed concern that Kim would provide weapons and ammunition to Russia, which has expended vast stocks in more than 18 months of its so-called special military operation in Ukraine. Moscow and Pyongyang have denied such intentions. The summit convened at the Vostochny Cosmodrome, which stands as a symbol of Russia's aspirations in space exploration, was significant, especially considering that North Korea experienced 2 unsuccessful attempts to launch reconnaissance satellites in the previous 4 months.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Charles Gemetto. Thank you for watching.